Hi guys, it's Marc Zicree of Space Command, also Mr. Sci-Fi, also tons of other stuff. And I'm at the World Science Fiction Convention, hence the hotel room. And by the way, this is metal from the space shuttle. It says NASA. Some of you may have been wondering what the hell I'm wearing on this hand. Metal from the space shuttle made into a ring. Cool. Um, so I'm at the World Science Fiction Convention, hence the hotel room, and I wanted to touch base with you guys because we have a booth here for Space Command. I've been selling Twilight Zone companions. I've been giving out free Space Command posters, talking to people. We're going to be screening the first half hour at on Saturday at 4 p.m. If you're in San Jose, come to Worldcon, watch the first half hour, and but I wanted to talk about why money is good and how we can utilize it because I noticed that our Kickstarter campaign has slowed. And, I've talked about how I'd really love to top $100,000 because that'll get us a far amount of the way down the road to finishing the 2-hour pilot. And if we only get like 66 grand, and that's not something to sneeze at, I'm grateful for everyone who's pledged, but it allows us to do less. And Elaine was talking to me about, and David Rakelin also, was talking to me about showing something concretely that says, this is what we can do for a little amount of money, this is what we can do for more money. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit because fortunately, I've posted the first half hour on Mr. Sci-Fi, and 90% or more really love it. And there's a few people who are less loving it, but they're mainly saying, well, the VFX could be better. Well, they're going to be better, guys. But of course, that takes money, and Tobias Richter is generating a new version of the opening scene. There's a lot of stuff we're going to be doing, both in the first half hour and throughout. But here's the bottom line of this. With a little money, we can do less. With a lot of money, we can do more. It's that simple an equation, and it's nothing compared to what the networks, use. I mean, just to kind of get anything made, an hour of TV is like $3 million. Star Trek's $10 million an hour. We're talking about 2 hours that we've made for what, like a tenth of that and less. So, because we've shot 40 minutes of the second one as well. So, I want to show you a difference in the music David Rakelin sent us. So it's music for a low budget, and then music when we have a little money to actually hire live musicians and give it a deeper sound.
Monorail leaving platform, please stand clear.
Also, I wanted to show you some visual effects that are less effective, less convincing, and some visual effects that are more convincing. And this has all been for the judicious application of money.
How'd you end up in the mines?
We were crafted to ask questions to more efficiently do our jobs. But I was the first, and I had an eccentricity.
So if you can go on Kickstarter, if you can buy Space Command shares at $7,500, if you can let your friends know, if you subscribe to science fiction podcasts or websites or blogs or magazines or newspapers or anything, radio shows, I'm happy to do interviews. We've only got 10 more days or so, and if you kind of bang the drum a bit, we can get this to a point where we can really cover some ground. Because again, there was a book dealer who was in his late 60s, and he said, when's it going to be done? He didn't talk like that. He had a perfectly normal voice. But he said, I've been waiting a long time for this, and we all have. And now the only thing that's really an impediment toward getting it done soon is cash, money. And also I'm pitching it, to AMC, and I'm going to be pitching it to Netflix and all these different places. And, and again, if someone steps up and buys the season, then this is all moot because we'll have the money. We'll finish it quickly or as quickly as we can, given that we'll be making a season. But but again, the whole thesis of Space Command is we don't need the networks and the studios to create something that's hopeful, that's positive, that's meaningful, just like Star Trek was. And it's interesting because several people came up to my table here at Worldcon and they said, because they were going to go to the screening on Saturday, and they said, "Is this family friendly?" And I was very proud to be able to say, yes, it is. You can watch it with your family. There's no need to be worried about that. And I'm glad of that. I mean, Space Command presents the world that I live in, but I'm very cognizant that Star Trek, although it would sometimes have controversial issues like an interracial kiss that might have ruffled some feathers, didn't have curse words, didn't have inappropriate material, and you can't say that really about the new Star Trek Discovery. Some people would be very uncomfortable watching that with their kids, and the Orville. I don't know if they're still continuing to have sort of vulgar humor, but they certainly did in the early episodes, and that was, for me personally, off-putting because it was dissonant. It took me out of the reality of the show, and also, again, if I were a parent, I would be very alarmed watching that show and having to, you know, explain things to my kids or just feeling uncomfortable. So if we all, I mean, it takes commitment to make stuff happen, to make stuff real in the world. And I'm sure that all of us, at various things that are happening in the news today, say, God, it shouldn't be that way. Well, why is it happening? And all of us know that the moment you say, well, what can I do about it? There's a great story that someone told me where they were watching Entertainment Tonight, and it was mentioned, there was a piece on Ray Harryhausen, the great stop-motion animator, and they were watching this, and it mentioned that Ray Harryhausen had never won an Oscar, and the person watching was a school teacher. He had no contacts in Hollywood, and he said, God, it's a crime that Ray Harryhausen hasn't been given an Oscar. And his wife said, well, why don't, he said, someone should do something about that. And his wife said, well, why don't you do something about that? And he decided to. And he started calling people like Tom Hanks, people he had no contact with, but he knew that they were fans of Ray Harryhausen. And he started lobbying Hollywood, Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks and all these people to make sure that Ray Harryhausen got an Oscar. And that year, at the Oscar ceremonies, Tom Hanks presented Ray Harryhausen with his Oscar. And so the point being, you don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be at the top of the food chain in Hollywood or any of these things to change the world. All you have to do is do what you can do. And if you can bang the drum, if you can spread the word, if you can say, okay, this is something I want to see in the world, then we can have it in the world. We've gotten this far. We've shot the 2-hour pilot. We've shot 40 minutes of the second story. I've written 8 hours of the 12-hour season. I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of you. And we're almost there. We're almost there. So go on the Kickstarter campaign. I mean, right now we're $4 away from $67,000. $4. I mean, why couldn't the person have put in $4 more? But I really would love us to top $100,000 on that campaign, and that just takes people bringing attention to it. And if you want to buy Space Command shares, call me at 323-363-1259, or email me at marc@zicree.com. I'm sorry, marczicree@gmail.com, and I can send you all the paperwork. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to answer questions. And, or then there's also our Patreon account, which helps keep the wheels turning. But it's late at night here in San Jose, but I just wanted to send out the word. I wanted to talk to you all. I wanted to thank you all, and I wanted you to think to yourself, well, what can I do? Can I do a little more? Can I do even one email to one person? Gets things happening. I know for myself that I because of the times we're in, I make it an effort, a conscious effort to be kinder every single day, to talk to people, to be friendlier, to be, if I can open a door for someone, if I can, help them park, if I can do whatever I can do, I do it. Because these are times when battle lines are drawn, quite frankly, and we can give into fear or divisiveness or pettiness, or we can be better than that and bigger than that, and that's always been the challenge for humanity, but we're doing it. The space program proved that we could go into space in a positive way. There hasn't been a war in space. There hasn't been any of these things that we were afraid of in the 50s, and we can make the world better. We can make the solar system better. We can make mankind better. I strongly believe that. And Gene Roddenberry believed it. Rod Serling believed it. They taught me. Ray Bradbury taught me. Ted Sturgeon taught me. So that's it for now. Marc Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, Marc Zicree of Space Command. And if you're in San Jose, come up and say hi. And if you're not, I'm here. So we'll talk again really soon. We're going to be announcing the Great Space Command Spacesuit Contest very soon. I think you're going to love it. And that's it for now. Take care, guys. Bye.